All right. Yep, that's good enough. Hey guys, how are you?
What's
Happy
going
hour,
on,
it's
fam?
back.
Yeah.
Do you remember that bit?
I don't know.
That is when the henchmen, after being told that the Monarch organization is folded, are called back into service, and they're doing Holst's the planet's Mars as they're building up, and so he's I think his name's number 34, so he's all like going up to the closet, going beep bop boop, and then off they go. That it felt right, given
It did.
the
It did
fact
feel right.
that like we're back, baby, we're back, and
Yeah.
it feels a little bit like a job now. It feels a little bit like, oh wait, we're just doing it just for free. We're not hiding in a bunker anymore.
Well, wait. We were hiding in a bunker before?
Well, yeah, I mean, previously it was raining comets down upon the planet, and we were all, yeah, like we were saying, we all went to jail, and we started a D&D campaign, and now we're increasingly out of jail, and we got to decide. We got to decide what we're doing. It's time.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I assumed that we were going to have. I mean, I would have hoped that this is on us, like that we should have figured it out while we were not doing the show.
Yeah, that's fine. People love hearing board meetings. Welcome board meetings. Many of our investors are welcome to the 405B, a meeting of investors of the Royal Society of Happy Hours.
Exactly. Well, who's going to take the minutes? Are you going to take the minutes?
I believe the minutes of record are being recorded. So good. We got it.
Okay, so we already have the minutes. The minutes are all right. Are you?
Yeah, we
are
have,
you going to go with? How do we start with Robert's Rules of Order?
I've just taken a catalog of the minutes, and there are 48 remaining.
48 remaining minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, let's start.
Okay. So, where do we end up? I think last time we talked about it, we were getting close to some version of the big show, and then 2 happy hours a week of flexible timing. Like, because
I mean, I think no, it would be on a day. They would be on days, like either, if it would make sense to be Monday, Tuesday is the big show, and then either, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever people like the best. Maybe just it's that. We do expand the content. We have it. We have more stuff. We give people a little bit more that.
Monday's not bad because it's like you and I are already buckled in for just a ton of content anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for me, it's like it can go anywhere. It's just going to be a matter of where all the other stuff kind of wraps around it. But in general, look, I think that the audience loves it. Certainly, we felt the love when we weren't doing it last week, and people were saying that they missed it, which is nice. But yeah, I think. Well, here's the first thing: Tuesday happy hours, probably the most likely gots to go situation, just because I do think that
because it's silly.
That's the only
silly.
Yeah,
it's like it's literally us. Like, what if before we did the show, and then we did another show,
and that's the only one that I felt actively kind of hurt the original show, because like we wouldn't want to go as long.
And after show, we were very quick to peace out by the end. So how do we qualify? We could do a thing. Well, I don't know. I don't like holding perks hostage behind patronage goals or anything, but that does kind of make sense, where it's like, hey man, at this level we unlock, this many number of happy hours, but then all of a sudden it's like,
I mean, but here's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is feasibility, because at this point, I think we kind of know that Night Attack is its own audience, and we are fucking thrilled to have and do the show for everybody. And
it has been really, really good to feel the community and to feel the family.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And
I mean, it's
on a
been
more
nice.
regular basis. Yeah. So I think, just to put a pin in it, I think the most likely case is nothing's behind the paywall, but obviously if you enjoy it, please support us at patreon.com/Night Attack. But we just do happy hours just built into the feed. And so now you are going to get more content. You are going to get this kind of content, which is a lot more laid back, no game. We have an ability to have a little bit more of a jazz feel to it than Night Attack is currently, and we all just have a good time, and that's that. Which I think that's where we're leaning.
I guess what I'm worried about is having to come up with, like, what is the price? what is the price per week that we put on the happy hours? Because I don't know. I guess it's up to them. I mean, you and I know both want to keep everything hippy dippy, loosey goosey, and just be all like, yeah, more Patreons equals more happy hours. But at some point, you do the math, and it's like, okay, 2 to 3 to 4 participants. You know, even at $100 increase per week, that's us making $25 a piece per show, and I don't even know if we want to think about it that way, or, I mean, I don't know. All we want to do is love everybody.
Yeah, which is why we're doing this live on the show instead of having a conversation behind the scenes.
Because we're not nefarious, sneaky, underhanded assholes.
Ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, man?
It was good. We shot some more Scam Nations with Josie. Should we keep doing that? Or, like, the original plan for Scam Nation was to the original plan was to spend literally all the money I had to build a beautiful 7-acre facility that would be a real treat that can attract all of the top workers in Magic. Then COVID happened, and none of us know when anybody is going to feel good about coming out, or even if it'll be a bad look. That's the other thing. Like, now we're at the phase where it might be an actively bad look to have somebody on the show, because we're showing episodes with me and Jason, and people are expressing in the comments that they're uncomfortable seeing the two of us unmasked, hanging out side by side.
Yeah, I think part of that might also just be putting on your sleeve what your process is. Like, I almost kind of feel like there should be like a FBI warning at the beginning of each Modern Rogue where you and Jason are in the same place, and just be like, for more information about our COVID bubble protocol, please go to this blog post or whatever. And it's just like, here's what happened, and here's when Jason took his test, and here's when we got the results, and here's the bedroom that Jason sleeps in when he's quarantining, and blah 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 blah. Like, we are taking the following precautions to make sure that everybody is safe, just because I think what people want is a blanket. They, fear and chaos is what we have, and so in the absence of an explicit blanket, then people will think the worst and assume that you were doing things not appropriately. Right.
And I guess the one thing that has definitely been kneecapped is the whole point was for us to attract top quality Magic talent and get
Yeah.
them to show their best material to basically do a more intimate, low rent version of Penn and Teller Fool Us, right? Where it's like, hey, what if Penn and Teller Fool Us had people doing their very best work, and then instead of speaking in code about how it was done, we just full on,
Show you. Yeah.
either sold a product, if somebody wants to keep it behind a pay curtain, or
Yeah.
just full on talked it through. Man, we were so close to doing that, and then we weren't. And so,
Well, you still will be. It's just, everything is kind of in flux now. And not only are we still in the middle of it, like in terms of the numbers and everything, but also I think we're still mentally in the middle of it. And that's something where society will have to be sustained as normal for longer than we right now have the luxury of being. My suspicion is that you probably would be able to do, I mean, probably something by the end of the year, although who knows? I don't think that there's any money in betting on time frames at this point.
well, and if there's one bet I would take, it's that whatever your bet would be, add 2 to 3 months. I mean, I think that's where we're at. Is everybody?
Well, I think the idea is like, all right, if you wanted to bring people in now, right? What you would have to do is be big and transparent about all the precautions you're taking. And
right,
it's like, all right, again, here's where we're going. Here's a picture of our guest wearing a mask in the, either in the car or in the airplane or whatever. Like, here's where they're staying
being loaded
for quarantine.
into a torpedo that's launched across the Atlantic and beaches in on the coast, the Gulf Coast.
Sure. But I think if you did that, then what you are doing, in my mind, at the very least, is demonstrating that you care about safety and that you care about our collective kind of process. And also you want to create a show that people love.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the goal. What you don't want to come off as is callous to it,
Indifferent. Right.
or cavalier. Like, who fucking cares? Unless you're really trying to attract that crowd, or a crowd that finds that exciting, then there really is no money in not making a big thing. But we're seeing it now with the NBA. The NBA and the NHL are doing their own bubbles, and it's like, that's a process, and it's expensive, and it takes time, but they're gonna have content for their fans, and I don't think that you're really any different.
Well, so knowing that, not only are we in a particular moment or whatever, some of our most popular videos are 8 to 10 years old, and knowing how long a timeline everything we're creating is going to last for, I feel pretty safe about at the very beginning, it's like, hey, I'm going to teach tricks to my kids because I guess school's canceled. And that's about as much as we've said about the current moment and environment. And then I don't know how, beyond that, I don't ever even want to mention it again because, 8 years from now, they're like, oh, still talking about the COVID, are they? And so if that is going to be part of the ritual to get all of the top tier, hardest working, most creative magicians out here, and that has to be baked into the program, I mean, I'd rather just keep it me and the kid in the garage for a little bit.
Oh, well, I mean, in general, I don't think that you need to necessarily bake anything into the program itself. I think that, again, if you literally just did like a 2-second, for more information about our COVID process, beep, at the front, now it's like, that's just a moment where, I mean, again, it will peg it in time, but you're not going to do a travel log for every guest that you have to show how, safe you're being. But beyond that, like, I think if you're doing the same numbers with Josie and you're having a good time and Josie's having a good time, then fucking rock and roll.
The numbers, okay, so that's a separate question. Is the numbers per episode are quite good and stable, and I like them, and I'm happy and proud of us. And our dynamic seems to be well beloved. The comments are universally positive. We're definitely shedding about 500 subscribers per week, which makes sense because when you have 2 million people who have subscribed to a thing because they want it to be a thing, and then you do a different thing, then
you are giving them permission to say
to say, yeah, this is not what I signed up for.
We used to make, Italian sandwiches, and now we're making what's it called? Philly cheesesteaks. And it's like, it's still a sandwich and it's still on a roll, but the meat's different and the preparation's different. Now, if you don't taste this Philly cheesesteak and be like, holy shit, from the makers of the great Italian sandwich comes another delight, then you're like, nah, I'm here for Italian sandwiches. I'm going to go to the Italian sandwich shop down the road.
Here's the part that I'm really worried about is when we finally do feel permission to bring in all of the talented magic folks and make this the heart of online discussions of magic and so on, I'm going to feel real bad when the number one top comment is constantly,
where's Josie?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if that ever really needs to happen, right? If Josie can find a way to be
Josie's
a part of it.
just there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can figure out a way that Josie's a part of it. You can figure out, I mean, part of this is also like the where's Josie might come in because she's a, soon to be teenager and she could just be like, fucking, this sucks. I'd rather, go do some other thing that I'm interested in. Right. Like that might be where where's Josie comes in. So as long as she's having a good time, then I would say include her. The bigger thing that I think is good for you with the Josie thing is that no matter what, the era of Scam School is a place that happens at a bar is over for the next.
Right.
I mean, I would say foreseeable future.
And
like,
to be honest, that's a fine coincidence that the show is now called Scam Nation, because Scam Nation is a place. And guess where that place is located? It's 7 acres large, and I'm sitting in it right now. And so that that I am very thankful that happens to be the case. It's just,
and that's and beyond that, like, you have the capabilities that you can make a bar-like area that can look exactly like some of the places that you've shot in the past.
Yes. No. The patio out back, we can pretty much, like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and the the Moon Tower Saloon or any of the outdoor.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Fucking picnic tables and some Christmas lights and a few promo fucking Lone Star things in the background, and you have every outdoor bar in Austin. Yeah. Right? Like, they all
hire some half-naked people playing volleyball in the background and bada bing bang. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think you can always evoke it, but now the benefit you have in having the place that you have is it'll be, Scam Nation again. It's this magical place, and sometimes it's a soundstage, and sometimes it's outside, and sometimes it's a fire pit, and sometimes it's this bar set, and so that can be the thing that echoes the old aesthetic. But there's if you were to write it in a writer's room and try to figure out, well, shit, how do we shift this brand from we're never going to shoot in a bar, or we're probably like, let's plan everything for we're not going to shoot in a bar until past 2021, whether or not bars are open.
Right.
But it's like, we don't want to push that out, like, just for cultural attitudes. Let's assume that you're not going to shoot in a bar all throughout this year and next year. Then downshifting it to be, hey, I'm hanging out with my daughter is like brilliant. And now also Josie can be at the table that looks like an outdoor bar and be doing a magic trick if somebody else
Oh
is doing
wow,
it.
you're
And
right, because that would be a very weird insertion to, like, if we're at the Moon Tower Saloon or the Handlebar or any of
Yeah.
our favorites, and it's like, here's all these adults and a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
then
now
it's
that's-
weird. But now, like we've already backdoored, we've inoculated, we've vaccinated against this, so it's like it will not be weird. And in fact, the only thing that would be weird is if she wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. And you can play it up. You can like through trappings and editing and music, you can make it seem like it's more of a bar, or you can just have it be this weird danger room that you're training a super magician in, and it's like one day like you're going to be ready. By the time that you're legally able to go into a bar, you will be the best fucking like you like the goal is that Josie will never pay for a drink in her life.
It's like look into my eyes. One day you'll be 21 years old and you're walking into that bar, and I'll be damned if you're gonna pay for one fucking drink.
I know. Yeah. Again.
Yes, exactly. She seems to still love it. Like she never rolls her eyes about wanting to go out and do more of the stuff.
I mean, it makes sense. I think she's in that perfect age to really be excited to be hanging with her dad. She's a ham, so the idea of attention and fame is exciting, and she's just old enough to kind of realize what that will mean forever. Like, I mean, like about there is like where you start to realize like consequences and reputations and like infamy and embarrassment or pride, like all those things just kind of start to really form. And now she has an ability to tap into that part of the family business.
Yeah, you and I think spoke privately. I don't think we've talked about it in public, but it's like, Penny, she has had since, being young, drilled into her head, never give your real name, never give your real anything, whatever, understand that people may come for you or whatever, right? So like there was a moment that I asked her, oh, what do your friends say when they find out that, your dad's me? And she's just like, what are you, high? Like,
why the fuck would they
nobody
ever
knows
ask?
who I am, right? Whereas Josie is in a different spot where it's like, we're going to have to, luckily, Josie is very, very well behaved, has been very, very well behaved. But I mean, at some point, we're going to have the conversation where I explain, so you're a Kennedy, and here's what it means to be a Kennedy, and here's what we do and don't do, and we have a legacy and a family name to preserve.
I mean, honestly, I think that you're in a position where it would not shock me. Well, here, let me put it this way. I would have to look at the casino card for a long period of time to make an accurate bet on what will happen first. You shoot a legitimate Scam Nation episode in a bar, or you launch and promote an independent YouTube channel that is totally based around Josie and whatever Josie wants to do.
I mean, to be honest, let's throw that third option out there, like just legacy. It just gets handed over. At some point, it's only a little bit weird that dad's not there. Like,
I mean, sure.
It's just,
I mean, if she wants to follow the magic thing, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but even then, I think that there's a capability for her. I mean, she's going to be exactly in the demo where, more so than, you came into the world as a lot more of a fully formed, like, Brian Brushwood on the Road was part of that. And then BB Live Show kind of became your own version of like a vlog. But for Josie, like, even if she just took over Scam Nation and she was just the star, I still think that there's massive capacity for her to do another thing because
Another
she's going to
thing,
be
like,
right
where it's
there
like,
in that demo.
Oh, well, I want to
Yeah.
do this about my art. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Scam Nation. Yeah, no, I've learned all the magic and I've won all the awards. And I went on Penn and Teller Fool Us and did the Tonight Show. That's fine. But what I really love is drawing. And as a matter of fact, she just had to create a new Instagram channel because like there was a I don't know, Instagram be Instagramming. I think the problem was when she signed up originally, she mistyped her phone number, so that there's no way for her to reset her password.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And she
so-
just got locked out of the account.
Yeah, and so it's like, all right, well, yeah, it's and I made the case of, hey, the people who care are gonna follow you.
How many followers did she have?
Like 100.
She'll be fine.
She. I actually don't know her current thing, or know if it's appropriate for me to say
To
it
give
on
it
the
out
air.
live on the
Like
share.
it's
Yeah,
weird,
yeah,
man. It's a different world
I mean,
we live in.
that I think that's where you're at. And the reason why I framed it as an either or between those two sides was like, there's a past and there's a future. And I think that the future most likely between, you know, the daughters that like would have any interest or ability to want to tap into what you do to really like kind of access the family business. Josie is the most likely, and she's at a point now where it's like, yeah, especially once she turns 13, like that's,
I mean,
you know, that's its own thing.
yes, and you've been around to see the talent bubbling and brewing in one Calliope Brushwood. Like I don't know what to expect from that
but
one.
that's a little down the road, right? Like
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
shoot an episode in a
we've
bar.
got time,
yeah.
but holy shit, man, that girl, the stuff that she says is amazing.
Yeah, and who knows, you know, and who knows where that bubbles up, you know, and she's going to have the opportunity to see her two older sisters that will be kind of fully formed humans as she's rounding the point into kind of the beginning of modeling some of that, like a more adult behavior. She's probably going to grow up a lot faster than her sisters did, and already has in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I mean, she's already doing shtick. I mean,
But yeah, man, it's a crazy time. It is a bummer. You know, I think I was telling you when I was doing my taxes, or I was saying on this show when I was doing my taxes, just looking at like the difference in fucking travel miles between last year and this year. And I think I did 4 trips to Austin. It was either 3 or 4 like trips to Austin last year. And this, I mean, we might go the entire year without me coming down once, which will be like the first time in probably a decade where I haven't at least come to Austin once for South by. Like it's insane.
yeah. The new reality of shit getting real. I don't know. It's getting real. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about recently. I'm gonna guess that there's still another month or two before I need to have a discussion with everybody who pre-bought tickets to the Founders Day picnic, because I mean, you know, they gave real money, right? And like what happens there? Is this you have a reserved slot for whenever we get around to doing it? Is there a thing you want to reallocate that to? Is do you want it back? That, by the way, spoiler alert, that's my least favorite of all the options. But
yeah.
but like I didn't really have any of those thoughts until I realized that before we even got to Scoop Fest, they announced that they're postponing Scoop Fest for a year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, Oh, okay. We all got to figure out what we're doing.
Well, and that's the problem is like even from your side, uh, it's not like there was an unbroken line of Texas being fairly responsible about it and then it just kind of continuing to decline. There was, I know people get fucking horny for arguing when you talk about which wave this is or whether or not it's a second wave, but like for Texas and Florida and Arizona were part of its own rise that was kind of disconnected with the rise in the Northeast, and that all of a sudden kind of sets the, now it resets the like, oh, okay, well, like when are people gonna want to come to Texas? Like when is enough shit gonna be open to make it worth coming to fucking Texas for?
Maybe that's the solution. Is like, well, you bought it. It's Thursday. Are you showing up or not? Oh, that's your decision. Okay.
I mean, my guess is because how many people are we talking about for the Founders Club thing? It wasn't that many.
Little, yeah, just over 100. I
So
think
it's
because we didn't. Although, here's some exciting news, breaking news. We've made friends with the folks who run the VFW next door, and they have a lot more room, enough room for 3 or 4 times the number of people, and setups for concert venues and all of that stuff. So it may be that it probably won't be for a few months, but
number one, good discovery. One day we'll wear that dusty old outfit that you just found in the attic. But for right now,
no, correct.
For right now, I think if your issue is worrying about the 100 people that bought the Founders Day stuff, I think that there's probably a worth in saying like, hey, just in case you guys were wondering, indeed, this will not happen in 2020. So don't worry about if for whatever reason you were thinking about trying to save a spot on your calendar to do it, then just know that that's not the issue. And if anybody has a pressing thing with the money that you've put down for it, no, obviously that ticket still buys, but email me and we'll figure something out. And so that way,
and we did have a version of that conversation over email where it's like, hey man, wow, the world, am I right? And then so I have gotten no pressure at all, one way or the other on that, but I don't know. I really miss people, and I think other people miss people.
I mean, yeah, and I think that part of it is when you can do it. Part of it is when you should do it, and part of it is when people want to do it, and those are kind of 3 separate, different conversations.
Well, and on top of all of that is it a good look question, where it's like, is the mere fact of doing it a statement of some variety that you don't intend to make,
Yeah. And a lot of it is local too. A lot of it is your own
the
neighborhood.
The fact that we are becoming the nation's new hotspot. It's the hottest spot for COVID.
Hottest spot. It's called COVID, and you'll never believe how hot it's getting. Yeah. Although I saw some encouraging stuff out of Texas, that the hot element of Texas, it was Houston, and that seems to have already passed its point in past its peak in hospitalization. So Texas might be on the other side of it, at least in terms of what it peaked at before.
Tell you what, man, you watch that COVID weather report, and you see that storm coming. You get real good about those masks and hand sanitizers.
Well, I mean, That's kind of the crazy thing about America, right? Is, we don't really believe shit is real until we burn our hand on the stove twice. I think that this is a fucking real pernicious kind of thing. We're still learning more about it. There was I was talking to Kishore, one of my friends out here that has been like really dialed into the science stuff. Like he's a science educator, and so like he has been like he's like telling me about like listening to these like bone dry Zoom calls with just like the very, very smart, but very, very monotonously voiced boffins, reading very technical things. And he's like, I am like dialed into this for my job, and it is hard for me to keep my head up. But that being said, one of the things that he was watching made the case that part of the reason why people aren't dying as much is because less of the virus on average is infecting people, and part of that is masks. And so it's like that is a thing that more people are doing. Obviously, we focus on the most the loudest voices everywhere in general, but like on the mask issue, it's like, look, we're juicy creatures that constantly spray things at all times. We also have a massive country that can't enforce internal borders. So we can't even just like quarantine a plague rat state. Like we just gotta fucking deal with it. And like we gotta help each other, or else then it just keeps going. So especially inside, wear a mask.
Yeah. There's a few different threads to chase, but we only have 15 more minutes. It is fascinating to have just watched, and I'm not picking a side. I'm not saying either one was right or wrong. I understand every phase of it, but pretty weird that over a 4-month period, the official word from the government went from, will you knock it off with the masks, to swear to God, every one of you wear a mask. Like, and there's different reasons. The reasons at the beginning are, everybody wanted the N95 mask, and they would prefer to hold them for, medical professionals, and now it's like literally just cover your face. And then even weirder when you think about how 6 months before, there's legislation saying it should be illegal to wear a mask in public because you shouldn't be hiding your face. It's amazing to me. And again, no opinions, not on one side or the other.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable to me.
It's incredibly frustrating, right? Because on one hand, we're now in this, who was right, who was wrong thing, where like I don't think anybody could say that they did an amazing job from the beginning of this. Like I don't know a lot of people that are like, yep, me batting 1,000 any level of government or agency, no, a clean sheet for me, the perfect thing.
Like, as we all know, the only reason to wear a mask is to rob a bank. So all mask wearing is banned. Bandits.
Look, it's bad, and the initial commentary was bad, and we need to try to save each other. And like, I think that there's a lot of stuff that we're probably too draconian on. I personally would rather see everybody outside if they're going to congregate than inside. I think that the science is kind of fairly clear that that's where you're really going to get fucked, and that's where you can really have mass spreading events is inside instead of outside. But some people are going to be dunderheaded about it, and I'd rather them be dunderheaded in a place where they're less likely to spread it to each other and others.
yeah, I guess if if I'm looking for the upside,
Yeah.
these are truly extraordinary times.
Oh, of course. Yeah, man. Like
Uh,
it sucks on so many levels, but ultimately 2020 will be a year we will never forget. And it, this is a pandemic, the likes of which we really haven't seen globally since 1918. It's insane.
yeah. Okay. We got 10 minutes. Something happy. Something happy. Tell me
Man.
something that makes you joyful. I really
Makes me
enjoyed playing-
joyful.
I really enjoyed the emotional complication I felt playing The Last of Us. And I'm really joyful.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
What game was that?
Okay, yeah, that's on a different program. But that was wonderful. I liked it quite a bit.
I'll tell you what. Nick HW says tomorrow's Night Attack guest. I am thrilled to talk to Romney again, and I am so pumped to kind of catch his mood as we are allegedly all going to make our Tijuana
Big screen
Jackson
debut,
big
yeah.
screen debut. Yeah.
You know what I'm digging about the stuff that I see? Because occasionally Bonnie will forward something over, because he's, I think, a little bit more participatory on Facebook than I am. But it's so awesome to me that we met Tijuana Jackson as a caricature. And the secret of the caricature was he was delivering traditionally real good motivational advice, just with more mentions of prison rape,
Yes,
or
exactly.
doing drugs
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But like there was, I love the fact that I knew enough of that rhetoric to recognize, like, that's a Brian Tracy quote that he, added a secret, acid reference to. That's a Tony Robbins thing. That's a so-and-so thing, lately he's been just putting out full on, unironic, really good motivational building an independent creator career advice. That completely, with no trace of irony, and I guess he could do that because he's now experienced, those. He's on the other side of the legitimate levels of success that he doesn't have to do it with a wink and a nod. I love it.
I mean, he just talk about Romney is not only a unique person, but also just such a unique talent that I think, if anything, the idea that he has done it for this long and he's still on a massive television show, right? Like A Million Little Things is still, I mean, I don't know where it is now in terms of, shooting and seasons and everything, but it's like that, that dude was fucking crushing it. What, 15, 20 years ago? Like all the comedy
way,
stuff.
Yeah,
and
all the
like,
way back when Steve Carell was 40 years old.
Yeah, right. And and then before that, he had a whole music career before that. Like there's I think that at this point, Romney is somebody that you should be fucking learning at the knee of. If you want to know what hustle and dedication is. And from our perspective, shooting our little piece of that movie, like, I mean, watching him work in that moment was just fucking like next level. He was such a fucking powerhouse.
Well, and also so patient and kind, because we knew we were there as a favor, because our team rallied around to help raise money for it. We read the scene. You and I had a wacky, over-the-top comedy take on it, and he didn't. He very patiently and kindly said, here's what I need you guys to do. And then we realized that we had totally misread the scene. But he never made us feel anything less than awesome from the beginning or the end of that
I
experience.
think he knew how to coach non-actors, and
Yeah.
and he was in a great. That, and also, God, I got to remember our co-star's name, the guy who plays the parole officer.
Oh, he was great.
He was
super gravitas.
He was so great. The funniest part about it was, and this is kind of sad, but he had such a great sense of humor about it, was like, we were just like going through all the stuff that he's done, and he was just like, all these famous television shows, and he's just like, yeah, gangster, I died, rapist, I died, another gangster, then there's gangster number 4, I lived in that one, but my other guy died. Yeah, like, it's just like, it's just going through how, I mean, like, being that guy's career.
And it's amazing to have that conversation and then say, oh, it's time. And then the three of us take a deep breath, and you and I pretend to be meth heads, and he pretends to be a cop.
It's as we lie our way, lie our way through our fucking parole thing. But yeah, no, fucking hilarious. And I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know for sure, but I don't think he dies. I think he lives in Purpose Over Prison. So I'm pumped.
I mean, unless somebody can die later of bemusement, like of watching two meth heads lie, because that was generally his character, was to be bemused by our poor ability to lie.
So fucking good, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to have him on tomorrow. I'm pumped to see that movie, man. It's coming up quickly. It's only in 11 days.
Yeah. So what platform is it going to come out on?
VOD, baby, wherever you want.
Okay. So for sale, and then probably a few months later show up on Netflix or
yeah, I mean, we can ask about that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I would say VOD. That's the big thing. So we will all buy it en masse. We will all rate it en masse. We will try to get fucking Tijuana Jackson trending. Like we want to. This will be us kind of hopefully uniting with the audience, the audience of Purpose Over Prison, and pushing this fucker to the moon.
Goddamned right. I'm gonna see if I could take us out. Do we have? Nope. It's gonna play a goddamn ad, which is a good thing. That all right, there we go. Now I'm gonna skip an ad, and then I'm gonna play.
BioCow says somebody has a copy on iTunes. What? That's fucking illegal.
All right, we love you guys. Welcome back to Happy Hour. Let's figure out how much of this we want and how we're gonna pay for it. We love you.
See ya.